Hi there, my name is Kelsey. I'm a vet tech with Saving Grace. I do some active rescuing and then work at the shop and with all the animals and all the medical procedures, help with surgery days and everything like that. Yeah, and this is Michelle.
And my name is Michelle. I'm a vet tech here at Central Vet Clinic. I also do a lot of volunteer work with Saving Grace as well. And so I'm here helping Kelsey with this injured dog that she just picked up. So we're gonna get her into the clinic and get her looked at.
All right, today is a Thursday, which means Saving Grace Day for us here at Central Veterinary Clinic. So every Thursday, Saving Grace brings in all of their dogs and cats that need either appointments or to be surgerized for spays and neuters. So today's list, believe it or not, is a short day. We only have 17 surgeries today.
So we got a call this morning to our shop phone at Saving Grace about a gentleman who had a dog who was in a dog fight, which is her. And basically they had no money to cover the costs for anything, so they opted to surrender her to us. So I went and picked her up right away, and then we're here, and hopefully we'll just sedate her and clip and clean her, but we are a little bit worried right now that she might be pregnant. So we won't use the same sedation that we would if we even sedate her at all, but obviously we have to deal with this neck wound one way or another, so we're gonna make sure she's not pregnant first and then go from there, but she's a very sweet girl, so we'll get her fixed up and on the road to recovery. Yeah, so these guys were basically an unwanted litter. So we went out and picked them all up. As you can see, they're pretty dirty and we're living in the dirt. So we grabbed all 7 of them, and now we are just going to vaccinate and deworm everybody so that they can go to a foster home. And then they'll sit in the foster home for 2 weeks, make sure everything's good, and then once they're 8 weeks, they will come back here and get spayed and neutered and then be off to their homes.
So we start with our mature spays for dogs and do puppy spays. These guys are, I believe, 8 weeks old, and then we move on to our cat spays in purple. And then we've got some mature dog neuters and some puppy neuters, and then our cat neuters. And then at the end of the day, we work on our medical appointments for them and just help make sure everyone's looking good. So Bettina here, she was found very pregnant during the very cold snap that we had here in Alberta over Christmas time. Her conditions were unfavorable and she has very short hair. So obviously this kind of mama is not meant to have babies out in the cold. And Thankfully, Saving Grace was able to take her in before she had her babies, because unfortunately, if she would have had babies in the very cold conditions that were happening here in Alberta over Christmas, unfortunately, the babies would not have survived very much longer than a few hours.
So because this dog has kind of a distended abdomen and we don't have a good history on her, we're just checking her for pregnancy before we sedate her, because it's not safe for the puppies to go under sedation. So we're just using an ultrasound the same as human medicine to check for pregnancy, but I do not see a pregnancy, so that's good. So I'm just gonna get her sedation drawn up, and then Dr. Jesse's gonna give her a quick exam before we sedate her to clean up that wound on her neck.
I'm Dr. Jesse. I'm one of the associate vets here at Central Vet Clinic. I have been a vet for 2 years now. Been working with Saving Grace all that time at Central Vet. What we do on these big Thursdays is we do a lot of spays, we do a lot of neuters, but also any medical appointments that Saving Grace needs. So we see a lot of crazy cases, from vaccines to more complicated cases like broken bones, difficult medical cases. It runs the full gamut at Saving Grace.
Hi, my name is Claire Hobson and I'm one of the registered veterinary technicians here at Central Veterinary Clinic. Like today we have 17, we can go up to 40 a day. Today I will be prepping all of our patients for surgery, making sure that we have a nice, clean, sterile field for our surgery so that we don't get any infections or any issues after surgery. For some of these bigger guys, with her being 4 months old, I do like to do a second line here just to make sure we are covering the entire area. So I usually do minimum 3 scrubs after that lidocaine injection.
It's just like a human, I don't know, what's the ultrasound it? This dog has very clearly been on the wrong side of another dog's mouth. And it looks like she has quite a few bite wounds around her neck here. She was fairly lucky because we're pretty close. We might be a centimeter or 2 off those major vessels, so lucky dog in some sense. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna clip it, clean it up, and explore the pocket, make sure that there's not a big deep abscess in there, make sure that all our muscles are intact because she was packing this leg pretty hard as well. Of course, we assume that's because of this wound, but we'll just rule everything else out to be sure. So we're gonna go throw the ultrasound on the wound here, and what we're looking for is I wanna see if it's a soft tissue swelling or if it's an abscess. On an abscess, we'll see nice fluid pockets here on the ultrasound, which is actually exactly what we're seeing here. So you can take a look and you see these big black circular pockets, so that's all fluid. Given that this wound has probably been around for just over a week, I would suspect that we're gonna deal with a pretty nasty infection.
And I'm just putting some of this antibacterial surgical scrub soap into it and flushing out anything that I can. Getting the inside really clean and stuff, getting the area prepped so that Jessie can go in and put a drain in so that it'll continue to flush all the bad stuff out and then hopefully heal nicely.
Bettina just finished her spay. She's currently just on oxygen right now. So she's just gonna wake up slowly.
So this is Jane. She is 8 weeks old, here for her spay.
It's a blessing for them and an honor for us to be able to see some of these critters you know, come full circle when it could have been a bad run for them. So yeah, now they're well on their way and they're gonna find their forever homes through Saving Grace.
So the idea with the drain placement is you want to put it at the most gravity dependent portion of the cut because of course fluids follow gravity and it'll provide the best spot to drain. Okay, so now we're all done with her. We've done our surgery, we put that drain in. So the very next step for her is wait. So she's going to be on antibiotics for 10 days, anti-inflammatories for as many days as she needs them, because she's certainly going to be pretty painful while she's healing. And it's just a matter of time now. Get all that fluid out of there, get all that inflammation out of there, and all that infection, and then she should be good as new.
Okay, so we're about to poke our next cat, Vivian, with some sedation. So this is an IM injection and it's gonna help her get a little bit sleepy so that when we knock her out on the prep table, she is good to go and we can use less of our propofol.
So we're a little bit concerned because she's kind of what's called regurgitated. So it's kind of like throwing up, but involuntary. So she's regurgitated following her sedation, which is a little bit of a concern. So we are just going to take a quick x-ray of her stomach just to make sure there's not something like an intestinal blockage.
We got a surprise out of our sedation because she started regurgitating a lot, which we don't like to see. You never know where these dogs were before they come to us, so we don't know if she got into something. So we took an x-ray, we were looking for intestinal obstructions, but what we saw is a lot of fluid at the front of her abdomen, and also what looks like 2 shots from an air rifle. We're not sure if they went all the way through into her abdomen or if they're just sitting in the muscle under her skin here, so we're going to take a look with the ultrasound, find out what kind of fluid we have in the abdomen, and then we'll go from there and give us a better idea if we have to go to surgery or if this is something that can wait.
On the ultrasound, basically all Jessie can see right now is her stomach, so it's hard to see anything else that's around it and determine if there is free fluid in her abdomen, which will be a concern. Right now we're going to take some blood work just to see if that shows anything, and then going forward we're going to leave her here instead of bringing her back to the shop so that they can monitor her. Hopefully she can get rid of everything else that's in her stomach, and then we can get a bit of a better diagnosis. But right now her stomach is just too full to tell for sure what's going on. So we'll see what the blood work says and then go from there.
So we took a look at our blood work and we saw really elevated white blood cells. So that's consistent with inflammation or infection. Unfortunately, it's a little complicated in this case because we know we have that big abscess on our shoulder. So the inflammation could be from that. We could have some inflammation in our gut as well. So I'm not exactly sure where that's coming from, but suffice to say this dog is fairly inflamed. And the other thing that we noticed on blood work is that our red blood cell count is a little bit low. So we've got an anemia that could be consistent with blood loss from getting in a fight. It could be consistent with potential internal bleeding as well. So what we're gonna do right away here is, given our suspicion, we're gonna take her to surgery. Looks like she's really got a nasty blockage, and the sooner we get after this, the better for her sake. So we're gonna get started.
So Nessa just finished her surgery. It ended up just being like a clot of like hair and debris and a little bit of foam and everything that basically stuck at the bottom of the stomach at the pylorus where everything passes through, and then it just didn't let anything pass. So they pulled like, a good couple liters of fluid off of or out of the stomach, and then pulled all that debris out, flushed everything out, and then she's recovering now. So hopefully she'll recover nicely and then be on the mend and get to come home. So we just got back from the vet clinic. I had that litter of 7 puppies that we vaccinated and dewormed earlier today. So now everybody at the shop has set up all the foster supplies for them into little groups. So we just name them, take photos of them, and then their markings, their sex, whatever, how we identify them, put collars on them, and then split them up. And then I take the photos and intake them into our system so that they're in there and we can put all their info in, all their vaccinating and deworming and everything like that. And then they'll just go off to foster for 2 weeks.